The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal that Ivy Forrester will order Dylan to leave Los Angeles ASAP, so their upcoming face-off will take a stunning turn. Ivy backed out of the taking that San Francisco trip with Electra Forrester, so she'll still be in LA to witness a horrifying moment at Will Spencer's beach house. After Will and Dylan finish babysitting Hayes Finnegan, Dylan will do a dance routine wearing some ballet slippers. There'll be some excuse for Dylan to practice one of her hidden talents before she tumbles into Will's lap. Once Ivy spots Dylan and Will through the window, she'll feel like Dylan is stepping way out of bounds. That's why Ivy will ultimately launch a heated confrontation with Dylan and start throwing accusations. Ivy will feel like Dylan wants Electra's boyfriend for herself, but B&B spoilers say she'll refuse to let Dylan steal Will away. Electra and Will have overcome more than enough obstacles already, so Ivy won't want Dylan to be another one. Dylan may scramble to explain, but Ivy won't want to hear it. Instead, Ivy will just want Dylan gone, so she'll push Dylan to pack up her things and get out of there. Ivy will order Dylan to leave Los Angeles ASAP and perhaps try to make sure she's gone before Electra returns from her trip. Dylan will be thrown for a loop when Ivy pushes her to remove herself from the equation completely. Of course, Dylan is still trying to find a job and get back on her feet. The guest room above Will's garage has made it so Dylan doesn't have to live in her car anymore. Ivy will try to force Dylan back into an unsafe situation, but she may argue that Dylan should have thought about that before she crossed the line with Will. Dylan might be tempted to leave after Ivy's outburst, but Will may get updates on that news and put a stop to all this. It's easy to imagine Will insisting Dylan should stay, especially if he feels Ivy is overreacting to a misunderstanding. Regardless, Sydney Bullock is on contract, so The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Dylan definitely has a future in LA. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal that 5 women will go wild. These outraged characters will strike back after making some enraging discoveries. So here's what B&B fans can look forward to. 1. Brooke. First, let's talk about Brooke Logan Forrester, since she'll be furious when she finds out what Katie Logan Spencer is keeping from her. Eric Forrester is Logan's lead designer, but Katie is hiding that shocker for now. Of course, Ridge Forrester is going to be angry over Eric's deception as well. But Brooke just might be even angrier at Katie. It's clear that the bond between these sisters is going to deteriorate even further, so stay tuned to watch Brooke lose it. In the meantime, we should focus on a more imminent discovery since Ivy Forrester will catch Dylan in Will Spencer's lap later during the week of January 26-30. Thanks to Dylan's dancing mishap, she'll fall on Will and gaze into his eyes. Ivy will spy the pair through the window and confront Dylan in the aftermath, so Electra Forrester's aunt is definitely going to strike back in a big way. Although Ivy will try to force Dylan to leave Los Angeles, that plan won't work out as well as she might have hoped. 3. Electra, one way or another, Electra's going to get updates on Dylan's scandalous alone time with Will. You can bet Electra will unleash her own fury eventually, so both Will and Dylan could face their fair share of backlash. 4. Sheila. As for Sheila Sharp, her worst tendencies should take over once she finds out about Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp's romantic connection. Deacon and Taylor are going to cross even more lines soon, so Sheila is sure to discover that joint betrayal and seek revenge down the road. Steffi Forrester. Finnegan has been fighting hard to protect Taylor from Sheila's wrath, but there's only so much she can do. Sheila will inevitably target Taylor anyway, and will face Steffi's livid response once she goes too far. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say these women will go wild after they discover some infuriating news. So stay tuned. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for Tuesday, January 27th, reveal that Steffi Forrester Finnegan and Electra Forrester will make a tempting proposal while Will Spencer and Dylan grow closer. In San Francisco, Electra and Steffi will put together a jewelry pitch for a very special client. Dottie Bright is an extremely rich socialite who used to know Stephanie Forrester, so she'll be eager to see all the pieces that Forrester Creations has to offer. Dottie has an assistant named Joseph, so he'll be on hand to gush over the Forrester jewelry offerings too. B&B spoilers say Steffi and Electra will bring their A game during this presentation, so they'll hopefully make plenty of sales to Dottie. Back in Los Angeles, Carter Walton will talk to Daphne Rose about their future. Now that Daphne has agreed to marry Carter, he'll paint a beautiful picture of their life together and the family they want to start. At the beach house, Will and Dylan will grow closer thanks to their time with Hayes Finnegan. Steffi, Lee Finnegan, and Taylor Hayes are all out of town, so John Finn Finnegan had a babysitting emergency. Although Dylan promised to respect boundaries and avoid the main house, that's not really possible now that she's watching Hayes with Will. Dylan is clearly a little uncomfortable about breaking her vow to Elektra, but Will isn't concerned at all and will keep reassuring her. As Dylan's worries fade, she'll let herself have some fun with Will as well as Hayes. Hayes will have a blast with them both, so this whole experience will strengthen Will and Dylan's connection. That's going to spell trouble once night falls, and Dylan spends some alone time with Will at the main house next. The bold and the beautiful, spoilers, say Ivy Forrester will spy on Dylan and Will later this week, so stay tuned for updates on the stunning news to come. Bold and Beautiful's Katie first landed in hot water with the gang over at Forrester Creations for having the gall to start her own fashion line. She added insult to purported injury by securing the rights to her own name, Logan, for the company. They don't even know yet that she's hired Eric as lead designer, which will have their heads popping off their necks, and now we're sensing yet another crisis in the making is dead ahead. Nothing happens without a reason on Bold and Beautiful, and Monday's episode featured several scenes with Will and Katie discussing Dylan's situation at length. They went in depth to the point that the dialogue was starting to sound like a PSA. Not surprising at all for the soap, which has covered many social issues over the years, but revealing nonetheless. How? Well, simply put, Katie has a company that needs employees and Dylan needs a job. You can see then where we're headed with this. But you are probably thinking, why would the Forresters care? They're not hiring her. This would be an accurate assessment if not for what's about to go down. As we teased in a previous story, Dylan and Will be caught in a compromising position, which changes everything. Believing that Dylan was making a play for Elektra's boyfriend, the Forresters, or one in particular, will try to run the wide-eyed art school teacher out of town. Word will get around at Forrester Creations, and just like that, Katie hiring Dylan will become yet another affront to the first family of fashion. We're confident in predicting that Katie hiring Dylan will become another point of contention between her and Bridge, even before the big bomb drops that Eric is producing a couture tour line for Logan. Tensions are rising and battle lines are being drawn. The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Monday, January 26th, reveals that John Finn Finnegan's emergency put Will Spencer and Dylan on babysitting duty together. Since Steffi Forrester Finnegan had to take a last-minute business trip with Elektra Forrester, she was apologetic during a conversation with Finn. Finn insisted it was fine and that he could handle the kids while Steffi was gone, so she headed off to give Elektra updates ahead of their flight. At Forrester Creations, Dylan assured Elektra that she knew the rules and would respect them from now on. There was no need for Dylan to be at the main house anyway when she had everything she needed in the guest room above Will's garage. After Elektra and Dylan hugged again, Dylan took off. Elektra was alone when Steffi showed up to reveal that Ivy Forrester couldn't make it, which meant Steffi would be filling in for her on this trip to San Francisco. Steffi explained that she'd moved some things around, so they'd only have to be away overnight. Although Elektra seemed unsettled, Steffi urged her not to think about what could go wrong. At the beach house, Katie Logan Spencer suspected that Will wanted Elektra to move in with him. Will at least wished Elektra would spend more nights at his place. Next on Monday's B&B episode, Dylan watched Will lifting weights outside before speaking with him briefly, but she seemed eager to keep her distance. Afterward, Will took Elektra's call and learned Steffi was taking Ivy's place on the trip. Once Will wrapped things up on the phone, Dylan reappeared and seemed uncomfortable. Will sensed that Dylan was trying to avoid him, so Dylan mentioned something about not wanting to upset Elektra again. Will realized Elektra had talked to Dylan about the chicken dinner incident. Despite Elektra's reaction, Will acted like it was no big deal. Since Dylan basically lived with him and was also his friend, Will thought it was reasonable for them to interact with each other. Later, Dylan realized she'd missed a text from Finn right as Will realized he'd received one too. Suddenly, Finn rushed over in scrubs and admitted he was in a babysitting bind. Steffi's plane was in the air, Lee Finnegan was out of town, and Taylor Hayes was at a conference. Hayes Finnegan had just finished a half-day of school, so Finn needed someone to watch him while he handled a hospital emergency. Will and Dylan were happy to help, so Hayes was excited to spend time with them. After Finn rushed off to surgery, Dylan was uneasy about going inside the beach house when she'd promised Electra she wouldn't. Will insisted she didn't have to worry, so Dylan joined him for a craft project with a delighted Hayes. The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers say Dylan's broken vow will lead to bad news, so don't miss all the action. At the Cliff House, Steffi and Finn kiss ahead of her business trip. He assures her he and the kids will be fine. Steffi recaps that Ivy can't make it, so she's joining Electra. Packing up, Steffi reminds Finn that Kelly's staying overnight at Liam's, and Hayes only has a half day at school. They kiss goodbye when her car arrives. At Forrester, Dylan assures Electra she understands her concerns about her spending time around Will. Electra laments that she's been so busy and just misses him so much. Dylan vows to respect her wishes. At that very moment, Will is at the beach house telling Katie he wishes Electra was around more. She wonders if he wants her to move in. Will just wishes Electra would stay the night more often. She's just concerned about being that girl. Katie suggests he talk to her about it. In the meantime, he's not alone. He has Dylan staying over the garage. They go over Dylan's dire situation, and Katie recalls growing up poor. Back at Forrester, Steffi tells Electra that Ivy's sick, and she's going with her to San Francisco. Electra's grateful to the CEO. Steffi assures her it will only be an overnight. Electra's very excited. Steffi's looking forward to spending time with her too. Dylan arrives back at the beach house in time to see Will pumping iron on the deck. He asks about her day, and they discuss Electra's trip. Dylan muses, she's got a lot on her mind. She adds that Electra will miss him a lot. He'll miss her too. As Will continues his workout, Electra calls to update him that Aunt Ivy had to cancel, and she's going with the boss, Steffi. She assures him she'll see him as soon as she gets back. Will disconnects, and Dylan reappears, apologizing for interrupting. He asks if she's trying to avoid him. Why would she do that? At Forrester, Electra wheels her suitcase into Steffi's office. The CEO senses she's a little off. She urges the younger woman not to focus on what could go wrong. At the beach house, Dylan is picking up towels on the deck when she sees a missed text from Finn. Will appears. He got one too. Finn appears, needing someone to watch Hayes. He needs to get to the hospital right away. They assure him they've got this, and he takes off. Hayes runs inside to find the art supplies, and Will heads in after him. Dylan hesitates. Will tells her to forget about all that stuff before. It doesn't matter. Dylan flashes to Electra's warning, but then goes inside when Hayes calls out to her. Will reassures her again, so she sits with them and smiles big. Katie Spencer just scored one of the greatest designers of all time for her new company, Logan. But the new fashion mogul is taking a huge risk and doesn't even realize it yet. Eric Forrester is thrilled to be back at work. But will he still have that energy when his son Ridge finds out about his betrayal? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers below. Eric Forrester is desperate to put out his new designs, and since his own family doesn't want them, he is taking his talents elsewhere. Obviously, Katie Spencer is ecstatic about her new employee, and Dollar Bill supported the new alliance. Was Beatty so eager to stick it to Ridge Forrester that they might have just made a huge mistake? Katie was shocked, and rightfully so, when Eric Forrester approached her about designing at her new company. Katie Spencer knows that she needs the best to beat the best, and there's no doubt that Eric Forrester is the best. But, at the end of the day, he is still a Forrester, and eventually his son, and the rest of the FC gang, is going to find out about his new alliance. According to Bold and Beautiful spoilers, it is only going to be a matter of time before Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan find out the truth. All hell is about to break loose between the warring companies, and Eric could back out at the last minute. Ridge is going to be shocked and then devastated that his father abandoned his own family legacy to go work for their competition, and he's going to make his father Eric feel horrible about it. Katie Spencer is planning her entire company around her new designer and his never-before-seen line. If Eric Forrester bails on her because his son makes him feel guilty, she's going to be in trouble. Do you think that Eric will stick to his guns and release his new line at Logan? Or will Ridge Forrester's guilt trip make him back out? Share your thoughts down below and keep checking back here on Celebrating the Soaps for more Bold and the Beautiful spoilers and news. Katie Spencer and Eric Forrester are keeping a crazy secret on the Bold and the Beautiful. However, anyone who watches the CBS soap opera can tell you that no secrets are safe in Los Angeles. Katie and Eric are downright delusional if they think they can keep hiding their new partnership, and Bridge is closing in on them. Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers below. Eventually, the world is going to know about Eric Forrester designing for Katie Spencer's new company, Logan. In the meantime, they have decided to keep their new partnership on the down low. Eric and Katie's clandestine fashion meetings could be busted soon, though. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say that next week, Brooke Logan will learn that her sister has hired a new designer at the company she has been trying to put out of business. Obviously, Brooke's curiosity will get the best of her, and she'll start snooping around for answers about the mystery designer at Logan. Is she going to discover more than she bargained for? Donna Logan is in a peculiar position on the Bold and the Beautiful. She is trying to keep the peace between her two sisters, Katie and Brooke. But can she keep lying in Brooke's face when she interrogates her? Donna is going to have a tough time trying to convince her sister that she doesn't know who Katie's new designer is when she is married to him. According to B&B spoilers, Katie and Eric's big secret will be exposed sooner rather than later. Brooke and Ridge are determined to get answers. If Brooke busts her sister meeting with Ridge's dad, she could put two and two together. And she won't even have to if Donna Logan cracks under pressure and comes clean fast. Are Katie and Eric wrong to keep sneaking around behind Bridge's backs? Who do you think will bust them? Will it be Brooke Logan that cracks the case? The Bold and the Beautiful's must-watch moments for Wednesday, January 28th include Ivy witnessing a close moment between Dylan and Will, and it leaves her shocked. Plus, Elektra meets with a wealthy client on her business trip with Steffi. Meanwhile, Brooke urges RJ to work with Ridge. Brooke and Ridge were thrilled when RJ returned to Los Angeles. They seriously enjoyed catching up with him and talking about what comes next. Ivy brought Elektra to LA. She helped her niece get a job at Forrester Creations, and things have gone well for Elektra since then. In fact, Elektra is on a business trip with Steffi. Elektra and Steffi met with Dottie, who was a friend of Stephanie Forrester, along with her assistant Joseph. Things went great, which left Steffi and Elektra with huge smiles on their faces. Of course, back at home, Dylan ended up breaking one of Elektra's boundaries because Will told her it was fine. Together, they watched Hayes. During their time together, Will and Dylan seemed to grow closer. It's a truth universally acknowledged on the Bold and the Beautiful that the children of a couple, whether adults or minors, will meddle in their parents' romantic affairs. However, there are times when that meddling can be over the top or downright dangerous. In the case of Deke and Hope, while they mean well, they're courting trouble by interfering with Deacon and Sheila's marriage. And that's not only because Sheila is liable to snap, but also because they're forgetting a few key personality traits about their father and ignoring the reality of the situation. There are at least 5 reasons why this may not go their way. Deke and Hope have been trying their hardest to push Deacon out of his marriage to Sheila. They think their father deserves better, but the two are acting as if Sheehan were newlyweds. At this point, they've been married for nearly 2 years. Hope even attended the wedding. The only thing that's changed is that Deacon is seeking therapy from Taylor and has developed inappropriate feelings in the process. So why is now the time for him to jump ship? As Steffi suggested, Deacon is looking for an exit strategy, and he sees Taylor as the way out. Or at least that's what she, Deke, and Hope believe. But that might not actually be what's going on. And this ill-advised entanglement may not be as cut and dry. There's much that they haven't considered. Deacon's children like to write his love for Sheila off as some fever dream he hasn't woken up from yet. But their history is rich with moments of support and devotion. They started out as friends, with Sheila financially assisting Deacon when he was fresh out of jail. They comforted each other when they were struggling to forge relationships with their respective kids. Sheila and Deacon also didn't sugarcoat the situations they would face. The couple has the kind of connection that simmers with attraction and is warm, funny, and caring. They not only adore one another, but they also take care of each other when no one else will. Deacon's the reason why Sheila isn't in jail. He pulled strings so that she'd have her freedom, and she's always gone to bat for him. This moment in their relationship, born of Sheila not immediately telling Deacon that Lee had faked Luna's death, reads more like a bump in the road than the end of their romance. While Deke and Hope don't respect Deacon and Sheila's marriage, that doesn't mean it isn't a good one. Though B&B is notorious for couples bouncing in and out of wedlock, Deacon isn't one to take his marital commitment to someone lightly. Cheating isn't off the table, but actually walking away may not happen. It was his ex-wife, Quinn, who threw their marriage into the trash can by trying to kill him. And he knows Sheila wouldn't hurt him. She'd hurt Taylor if he stepped out. Notably, Sheila hasn't entertained the idea that Deacon would leave her, and he hasn't either. All he's told Taylor is that he wants her in his life, but he's made no promises to leave his wife. The farthest he's gotten is offering to stop seeing Taylor as his therapist so they can go on a date. It's Deke and Hope who are hanging this newfound connection on the two having a life together, and Deacon divorcing Sheila. Sheila may be a changed woman, but that doesn't mean she has to tolerate Taylor messing around with her husband. The concern is that she'll have a violent reaction to finding out Deacon is having an affair. But in all honesty, this is a bear that shouldn't be poked in the first place. Deacon and Taylor are playing with fire. And for what? Sheila could likely handle Deacon leaving her. She's been divorced before. So why not go the route of getting out of the marriage first? Better safe than sorry. At the end of the day, Taylor is a means to an end for Deacon's kids. They would encourage their father to pursue any relationship as long as it got him away from Sheila. While they've spoken at length about how much better Taylor is for him, their measuring stick is based on their dislike of his wife. They haven't seen Deacon interact with Taylor or really know anything about their connection beyond the fact that Taylor is his therapist. At one point, Deke seemed to be baiting Sheila about Taylor's bond with Deacon. If Sheila is such a danger, then that's not something he should be doing. The same goes for Hope trying to convince Steffi that her dad will protect Taylor if Sheila snaps. Neither sibling cares much about Taylor's safety if it means they get what they want: Sheila out of their lives. While it's true that Deacon has turned his life around, that doesn't mean he and Taylor are compatible. They're different speeds in a way that's not complementary. It's also telling that their single connecting thread is being wronged by the people they love. They've been living in the bubble of their therapy sessions, where Deacon plies Taylor with compliments, and she tells him how much of a good man he is, but he's got his own past that informs how he operates in the world. Deacon likes being bad in some capacity, even if it isn't illegal. He's not always for doing things on the up and up, and he likes a bit of spice in his life. Considering Sheila made him feel like he didn't have control in his own marriage, it's no wonder he's tossing himself into a situation that's liable to catch fire and burn. Taylor's been encouraged to do something for herself, but this isn't exactly new territory for Deacon. Taylor may find that when the dust settles, Deacon was looking for a good time, not a brand new life with a new woman by his side. Everyone is getting ahead of themselves here, most especially Deke and Hope. Like any character's return, Deke's is stirring up drama on The Bold and the Beautiful. Most of Deke's story consists of his involvement in his dad's marital problems. And Deke is one person who'll be happy to see Deacon dump Sheila. After a 2-decade absence, Deke made his return to Los Angeles. It was a joyful moment as he reunited with his dad, Deacon. However, the family reunion was diminished when Deke met his stepmother, Sheila. Like many of B&B's characters, Deke is aware of Sheila's criminal past. Although Sheila's trying to redeem herself and has been nothing but nice to Deke, he hasn't given her the time of day. Deke's behavior towards Sheila has sparked a debate among fans on Reddit. Many agree that Deke is being too harsh in his treatment of Sheila. He's constantly been rude and hostile to a woman who hasn't done him personal harm and makes his father happy. Now, I'm not saying Sheila is some innocent person, but it's sorta just a bit bratty for Deke to be the way he is, wrote the original poster. I agree. I think Deke is being rude to Sheila. If Sheila was still up to her evil ways, I'd say otherwise, one viewer replied. However, most fans feel that Deke has a right to be cautious of Sheila. I think it makes total sense. It doesn't matter that she never personally hurt him, because I don't think anyone would want a loved one married to someone who has done everything Sheila has. While Sheila thinks her and Deacon's marriage is back on track, what she doesn't know is that Deacon's in love with Taylor. It doesn't help that Deke and his sister Hope are aware of their dad's feelings for his therapist. The siblings approve of Taylor and are encouraging their dad to pursue a relationship with the world-renowned psychiatrist. While Deke and Hope are focused on their dad's happiness, they don't realize the chaos they're about to unleash if Taylor and Deacon happen. If Deacon and Taylor do pursue a romantic relationship, it won't be long before Sheila finds out. Sheila's heartbreak will turn to anger, and when Sheila's angry, disaster strikes. Although Deacon and Taylor seem like Sheila's main targets, she might go after Deke and Hope, who disapproved of her marriage. The Bold and the Beautiful's Lawrence St. Victor typically shares a Monday message that sets the tone for the week ahead. However, in light of recent events, the actor shared an uplifting message that can help fans get through these dark and challenging times. It was a beautiful day in Los Angeles, California. However, that's not the case for much of the nation. The winter storm dumped snow, ice, and freezing temperatures across most of the southern, midwestern, and northeastern United States. St. Victor kicked off his weekly Monday message on Instagram with an acknowledgement for those living in those states. I hope you're weathering the weather. I know there is snow in many places in this country. I hope you're staying safe and that you are warm. The B&B star kicked off his message. Then, St. Victor paused and let out a sigh. The shift changed in his tone. We're in some challenging and dark times. Well, we've been in those times for quite some time, and still processing everything, and haven't formed any conclusions. Well, any conclusions I'm going to share right now. Then, the producer and writer led with the following message. But I do think it's important to remember to lead with kindness and be the best version of ourselves, and not just for ourselves or for our family, but for our neighbors. In his video message, St. Victor reminded his followers that everyone deserves decency, respect, and love. He concluded his message with the following: Be good and make it good. I love you all. Fans took to the comments section to thank St. Victor for his uplifting message. They were soothed by his calm voice and positivity. It's a simple, yet powerful message that's needed in these times. One person wrote, Happy Monday, and thank you always for your amazing motivational messages. Someone else commented, Everything feels so broken right now. Thank God we live in sunshine here in LA. It's the little things. Another person wrote, You are the best. You give us all so much with your genuine kindness and caring. We sure need more in our life world. All we need is love. Blessings. How do you get through challenging times? Share your thoughts below in the comments section. The Bold and the Beautiful has been playing it fast and loose on whether Elektra truly gets a say in what happens at her boyfriend Will's beach house. But Monday, January 26's episode proved that she doesn't actually have any power regarding his space. Will implied this in an exchange with Dylan at his front door before he let her in against Elektra's expressed wishes. B&B fans haven't been feeling Elektra's over-the-top reaction to Dylan living at the beach house and spending time with Will. It's ridiculous for the jeweler to expect Dylan to stay clear of the main house while she's on a business trip. Elektra called herself setting a boundary, but it took one conversation between Dylan and Will to erase it. The moment happened after Finn dropped off Hayes to be watched by the pair while he ran off to work. Will had expected Dylan to follow him into the house, but she hesitated. She'd already informed him that Elektra had made it clear in no uncertain terms that she was to keep to her own space. But Will waved away her concern with a simple reply that dismissed Elektra entirely. Dylan, don't be silly. All that stuff from before, forget about it. It doesn't matter. It never did. It certainly matters to Elektra. She's flip-flopped between being happy she and Will can provide Dylan with some stability till she works to get back on her feet, and feeling deeply uncomfortable with another woman sharing a living space with her man. But for as much as Elektra and Will say when they're talking about putting a roof over Dylan's head, it's actually Will's house, Electra doesn't live there, and they aren't talking about her moving in. Will blindsided Electra by suggesting that Dylan live with him. Once he realized Dylan was homeless, he was on a mission to fix the issue. Electra agreed and fully backed the idea, but it wasn't like she had much of a choice. And that's because she doesn't get to make decisions about Will's home, no matter how much they try to suggest that she does. This has been made obvious by her neglect to inform Will of her struggle to be okay with Dylan living with him, and his nonchalant, borderline amused reaction to Electra trying to lay down the law. Dylan and Will are roommates. Will made that happen without considering how it might make Electra feel. He was doing a good deed, but sometimes that can have unexpected consequences. In this case, it's brewing tension over Dylan that the couple has not addressed with each other. Katie asked her son if he wanted Electra to move in, but he simply wants her to spend more time at the beach house at night. Sharing quarters isn't on his mind right now. Electra lives at the Forrester mansion, but she might start pushing for a new mailing address if she truly begins to lose it over Dylan being at the beach house. Considering Will's answer to Katie, that could be another point of contention between the couple. Choppy waters seem to be ahead for Electra and Will. The bold and the beautiful's Ivy hasn't trusted Will from the start, but that hasn't stopped her niece, Electra, from dating him. Ivy has an inkling that Will is just like his father, and she could be right. But is she intentionally trying to destroy Electra's relationship? On the Monday, January 26th episode of B&B, Electra set some ground rules with Dylan. She told her friend to stay in the guest house while she's away on a business trip. Dylan assured Electra that she would respect her boundaries. She understood Electra's concerns. Electra admitted that she's been so busy with work and has missed Will so much. Dylan promised Electra that she would respect her wishes. Electra admitted that she's insecure about their relationship, and surprisingly, it's not because of Luna. Electra has had a hard time trusting people ever since Remy betrayed her trust. Is she sure that her aunt hasn't gotten to her head lately? Ivy has been a supportive aunt, but she can only do so much. She made it clear that she doesn't trust Will. After all, he's Bill's son. Ivy knows what it's like to be in love with a Spencer man, especially one who's in love with someone else. Who's the greatest love of Liam's life? She's projecting her own trust issues onto her niece. Also, the Aussie clutched her pearls over her niece's relationship. She doesn't like how Electra has to sneak back into the Forrester mansion late at night after spending time with Will. These thoughts have also been projected onto Electra, who admits that she doesn't want the Forresters to see her as that kind of girl. In Monday's episode, it was revealed that Ivy is sick and couldn't attend Electra's business trip. Instead, Steffi would be accompanying her, but the preview for this week shows Ivy peeking in the window of Will's beach house, where she finds him in a compromising position with Dylan. Did she get out of the business trip so she could spy on Will? This could be her way of sabotaging their relationship.